where where did you even get a creepy ass mask like that? Oh, that's very scary. It's very scary. I don't like it. And you don't even have the best quality of the blue people, which is free floating boobies, Dan. That's that's the only good part of this entire movie.
That was
Was
your
all of the
That was your
boobs.
favorite part, the semi-nudity.
The blue boobies. I call them bluebies.
Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. Hey, watching with Dan and Tony. It's Hey Watching, yeah.
I'm gonna start the day doing this.
What are you doing? I gotta take this mask off.
That's me waving the white flag. I quit. I give up, and I never want to do a month like this again because this was fucking horseshit, Dan.
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. We're gonna get right into it. We watched Fantastic Planet, and I have the feeling that Tony. This is Hate Your Neighbor Week, and I picked this movie, 1973 Czech Republic movie, and Tony loved it.
If there was ever a moment in this thing that we call a friendship that threatened to end it, it was this. This is the moment, Dan, where I had to seriously consider whether I was coming on the show today. I thought about it and I was like, I better just do the show. It'll probably be fun. But I'm upset about it. First of all, the name of this movie might be the greatest misnomer of all time. Fantastic Planet. First of all, this planet is boring as shit. There's nothing to this. This planet sucks.
Boring.
Dan. Boring. Those blue people, all they do is they sit and meditate, and then their orbs go fuck somebody. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I hate every second of this movie. Well, not every second because of the bluebies, but
Tony, tell us what the bluebies are.
The bluebies are all the blue boobies in the movie, which, by the way, there are a lot of like close-up shots of people holding the baby child right next to their giant bluebie. And I was like, cool. For the first 30 minutes of this movie, I'm in. I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to see a lot of bluebies. There's probably going to be a lot of sex because some French people made this movie. So I thought for sure I was going to get, and we kind of did, but we really didn't.
So you caught that the movie was in French?
Yeah, I did catch that. Only because I was listening to it and I was like, I feel like I've heard this before. I think I've heard these sounds before.
You're like, this does not sound like the typical Czechoslovakian that I normally hear. Because this movie was made
my day to day.
This movie was made in Czechoslovakia, but it's based on a French novel, and it was a French-Czechoslovakian co-production because the French people didn't have the animation infrastructure to make such a fantastic movie as this one.
I would argue that neither of the participating parties had the infrastructure to do the animation, but it was the 70s. I guess I should have looked up what other animated movies were coming out at the time, and if all of them had a slathering of just still frames that they just kind of moved over, kind of slid the picture over.
That's what they did. This movie isn't it's like paper cutout. It's like South Park. You like South Park, don't you?
I hate no, I don't like South Park, but that's for an entirely different reason. The animation's fine. It's cute. It's funny. I think that they're all assholes.
Didn't you find this animation interesting and intriguing and thought-provoking?
At first, we were like, oh, this is a cool art style. And then I got bored with it after, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. It looks like someone just did like a bunch of colored pencil drawings.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was done in colored pencil and colored paper and things like that. Yeah, I mean, that you have a problem with that? You want everything to be all up to the standards of you watch a black and white movie and you're like, who took all the color out of this movie?
Sometimes it depends on the movie, of course. I don't have a problem with the animation style, but I have a problem with the product as a whole. The combination of a lackluster animation style with a lackluster story and a lackluster voiceover cast all together just made the most boring dribble I've ever seen in my life.
This didn't make you think.
Tell me what you. Okay, yeah, sorry. No.
Didn't make you think about like these deeper ideas of slavery and all that kind of stuff. You didn't really get deep into that whole sort of thing.
Not even a little bit. What it made me think of is ants and how we treat ants. And I was like, you know what? I'm cool with it. Let's gas all the ants because they're annoying little things. I get it, guys. I get it. Let's kill them.
Hold on a second. So you actually in this movie you have the two races. You have the humans, or the ohms, and the drags, who I'm sure Tony found to be a drag.
Is that why they're named drags? You think because they're so boring and lame?
Boring? Jeez, man, Tony, you were just letting it all hang out today, aren't you? So
wow, it's either this or I yell at you. It's one of the two.
So the drags are gigantic and blue, and the humans are small compared to them. They're like, literally no bigger than your fingers. Kind of a continuation of Jack and the Giant Slayer.
I kept thinking of Gulliver's Travels while we're doing, especially during the death scene later. That was again so dumb. But yeah, that's what it reminded me of. But that does make sense. I didn't even think about Jack. Good old Jack.
So you didn't.
What a great movie that looked like in comparison, huh?
I don't know about that. I mean, so it didn't provoke any kind of thought. The idea of we human beings who think we're the top of the food chain of everything are now like the little creatures that are set upon by these giant creatures.
Not even a little bit. And let me tell you why. It's because they were never humans in the movie. If it was the actual human race with technology and like our governing society, like if it was humans and then they were taken over and it's them trying to understand, like fighting with that type of thing. But instead it's just like these humans that were clearly from another planet or taken from their planet, and they're domesticated. They're not real. They're not fully functioning human beings. They're like base level human beings. They're like cavemen. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, anyone could rule over these idiots. Let's give the humans a challenge. You know what I mean? Like, let's have these people be fully functioning, thought-provoking human beings and have that as the core of our story. Not these, they're not even chimpanzees. They're not even as advanced as the monkeys in Planet of the Apes, right? Like, it's they're so stupid that anyone could rule over them.
Now, have you ever seen the Planet of the Apes movies? The original
Are you asking Heston or Wahlberg?
Well, either Heston, Wahlberg, or the newer ones.
I've seen everything but Heston.
You haven't seen the first 5 Heston ones. You haven't seen those, but you've seen the newer ones, right?
I've seen like bits and pieces of the Heston ones, but I've never sat through a full viewing of it.
Great, okay. So in the Planet of the Apes movies, right, the human beings keep the apes down, and then the apes gain intelligence, and then they put the humans down. How did you feel about those movies? That's okay.
It's not okay. I don't know what you mean by okay, but it's done well. It's done interesting because, again, the humans in this movie aren't even as intelligent as the beginning chimpanzees in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, they
can barely even learn. I don't buy it, man. That's how boring and stupid these people seem to me.
I mean, they just are lacking of education. They're like once they have education, they're able to build rocket ships.
Are they?
Yeah, they built rocket ships.
That's a whole nother thing that I didn't even buy in the movie. I was like, no, these people couldn't do it. I don't buy it for a second.
Yeah, but they had the learning. Once they had the learning, that all the human components were there. They were just kept down, just like if you've seen the old Planet of the Apes movies, that's the whole thing is, initially the apes are keeping the humans down, and then Charlton Heston comes and they're confronted that the humans used to be smart because the apes spent all this time dumbing down the humans.
Yeah, which is great. It's all great. This
is not great.
I just did not enjoy the way they did it. I think, honestly, it's all because it's so boring. And I mean, this movie's terrible. Let's talk about that Franco Planet of the Apes, though, because now that movie gets me, man.
What's that one?
That's the first of the new ones, the newer rendition ones.
I watched it like once.
I cry so hard.
Because you cry for little apies, but you don't cry for the human race that's kept under the thumb of these big blue monsters.
I think maybe part of it, Dan, is that I'm on the side of the drags. I'm like, yeah, fuck humans, man. They suck. Get them out of there. When they're like going through the park with that weird, that puck machine. Fucking, I hate this movie. But when they're going through, I was like, yeah, just kill them, dude. Just get their pests. Get rid of them. They don't even make good pets. Here's another thing that's a problem with this movie to me is they don't make good pets. They're not interesting. They're not fun. They're just like semi-alive dolls. That's not a fun. Maybe for the little girl in the movie, like, yeah, I get that she would play with that for a little bit. But everyone's keeping these pets. They don't do anything. What a boring pet. I mean, other than the fight rings. I was into that.
Yeah, you can use them to fight. Yeah. There you go. That's pretty exciting.
That was the one fun thing that they did with these humans was make them fight. And I was like, oh, cool. Human fight rings. I'm in. Let's do this.
So we start the movie. We have the humans are savages, and the blue people have this very advanced society, and we have this.
Do they?
Yes.
Here's another thing that I didn't really buy. What do they even do, Dan?
They don't do anything.
They don't do anything for like hours on end. I didn't like either side of these races because I'm sorry. Continue. Although if I keep interrupting, this is going to take 4 hours, and I really want this zone to be over as soon as possible.
It's going to actually be a pretty short one because
I hope so.
So we meet this human female with a baby, and then the big blue hand torments her and eventually kills her. And then
so already this is where the movie lost me because I thought it was a comedy. I was laughing so hard at this scene, Dan, because she just kept doing the same thing. She didn't even try to go around the hand. She went up the same hill over and over and just got flicked down. And I was like, this is the dumbest race of creatures I've ever seen in my life.
Well, there's the thing about this movie is since it was animation and they probably didn't have that much money, they had a tendency to make things loop over and over again.
The same thing.
So there were like long stretches where, nothing really, you just like, if you had a thing happen, well, we'll just have it happen 3 times. So instead of taking up 10 seconds, it takes up 30 seconds. And so that was a limiting factor during this movie. So this little girl comes up there and wants to take the baby as her.
Well, hold on. We haven't gotten to the point where they kill this woman, quote unquote, by simply picking her up and dropping her maybe a foot. Now, I'm fine. I'll buy that we're that frail.
Yeah.
Whatever. My problem is that throughout the movie, our main guy is thrown around way more than that woman gets thrown in the first part of the movie. And he's fine all the time.
She probably already had some internal injuries from being knocked down that hill a few times. Ruptured spleen.
It's so great. He just flicks her down the hill and she tumbles. And then she's like, I guess I'll just do that again.
See, Tony, I think this seems like it's an issue with you. You see a human being being flicked down a hill and like being injured, and you're just laughing. I mean,
not the first time, Dan. The first time I was like, oh no. But then she did it again. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? And then she did it a third time. I was like, bitch, what are you doing? And then she just kept on going. And then I started laughing hysterically because
you enjoyed it.
What an idiot. I enjoyed it or she enjoyed it?
You did. You enjoyed it.
That first 5 seconds of the movie, yeah.
So we learn pretty quickly. So we get into drag society. What they do is they spend all day meditating, and when they meditate, they imagine themselves as this ball that floats off into the air, which is kind of interesting.
And then when they're not meditating, Dan, they just do a live podcast.
They have big meetings.
No, it's a live podcast because they're all sitting in this little center thing, which nobody can see. And then there's 4 video screens like a Jumbotron at a sports arena, just showcasing their faces. It's a live podcast.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's a meeting. So, it's a
it's
meeting.
A meeting where they don't get anything done.
Well, they talk about production and, a lot of important things.
Production of what? I don't know anything about these blue people.
They meditate a lot. They're a very thoughtful race.
Are they thoughtful? Because all they're doing is going and humping other races. That's not thoughtful.
No, they're reproducing with the other race. The red race. Red race and blue race come together and should make...
Red race.
I think it'd make a green race, maybe. I don't know. So they put him in a slave collar, which is just this little magnetic thing that sucks him back. And they name him Terr. Terr. Yeah. Then we have a big production meeting, which you really like the production meeting where they're talking about...
I just love the production meeting in which they just talk about nothing and solve nothing. And as far as I can tell, they don't have any imports or exports. I don't know what they're producing or who it's for. The usual stuff that you like to learn about a race.
All things Tony wants to know. And then we kind of find out that there's the domesticated alms, which, people keep as pets. And then you have the wild alms, which are growing out of control in population, and the population has to be limited very, very regularly. So now we start with the montage of Terr growing up. What? What'd you say?
I just said that it should probably be regulated a little more often. If it's getting that out of control.
That happens at the end of the movie. They do some more regulation. So we see Terr growing up. Terr has a little play set where he puts him in there and he runs around. And someone had hiccups? I don't remember what that was. Did somebody have hiccups? I don't know.
He had hiccups. And then she dunks him underwater upside down. I also laughed at that.
That's kind of funny. So then we get the roof nipple scene, I call it. There's 4 of the dudes sitting there, and then this roof nipple shoots this big black tongue, and then 2 more roof nipples, wall nipples, come out, and they're shooting these things, and all the creatures, and then the drags turn into
abstract art.
Abstract art. I mean,
essentially.
Now if you were stoned right then, Tony, wouldn't you have really enjoyed that?
I don't know. I've never been stoned before because I like to be in my right mind because I don't trust myself with my inhibitions gone. But maybe? I mean, it's colorful, but I don't understand. Please explain to me what this symbolizes, Dan. I would love to hear what meanings I should have taken from this moment in the film.
I think a lot of people that worked on this movie liked getting stoned a lot. And so I think a lot of these kind of scenes were scenes they just dreamed up to make something really interesting and just make it so you could go to this movie and be stoned out of your mind and
be totally blitzed.
Yeah, I think that because I mean, truthfully, although you and I have different opinions about this movie, this is a very pedestrian movie. Nothing really happens. It's Planet of the Apes, but without the drama.
What exactly do we differ on as our opinion? Just before we continue, you say we have very different opinions, but we both feel like this movie is basic as fuck.
Oh, it's super
and nothing
basic.
Happens.
This movie's super basic. And the plot, well, this movie, I won't say nothing happens, but the plot is really, basically, he's enslaved by them, he learns from them, he escapes from them, he teaches the humans essentially fight back, and then we have peace.
I disagree with that part.
I
don't think they really fight back. They don't really fight back. They do one thing.
Well, they could have killed the whole race basically if they wanted to.
And they should have. That's the only way you're
Tony.
ever going to get true freedom. Is just
Tony, you don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that. But then something would have happened in the movie, and at least I wouldn't have been bored.
So you would have liked this better if they committed genocide at the end. That's what you're saying?
Either side. I'm not picking and choosing which side did. I'm saying if either side would have just picked up the sword and done something cool, I would have been on board.
Wow, that's very harsh. So yeah, but there's a lot of visually this movie is like very strange and interesting and weird. And there's, I mean, the way I would look at this movie is it's really about 20 GIFs. If you took 20 GIFs from this movie, that's sort of the best part of this movie. Otherwise, this movie is just probably super entertaining if you're stoned out of your mind.
I don't. Someone will have to test that theory for us because I am curious if that would help at all.
I think a lot of people have tested out that theory, and I think why people think this movie is a classic is probably just for that reason.
So part of the problem that I have, I don't even know, is there are interesting visual elements that never come into play at all. Yeah. There's like some really interesting creatures on this planet that they kind of encounter, but also don't encounter in any way. Like that one guy in the cage that's just fucking like luring things and then killing them. I want to see more of that. That's interesting. What an interesting idea. But instead we just walk by it and then it never comes back. And I wanted to learn something about anyone, either the race or the planet, anyone but the humans, who were the worst part of this movie.
And that's
I'm sorry.
Sort of the meta issue with a movie like this is, you know, for its time, it's groundbreaking because there weren't a lot of people making independent, crazy science fiction films like this. And so, in a sense, this movie's given this giant pass because nobody's, you know, they're like, it's an allegory, it's a this, it's a that. And you're kind of like, well, it's kind of a terrible allegory for those things. And if you look at like a good movie for this kind of thing, you have Planet of the Apes, which, I mean, like I say, I haven't watched the James Franco ones. I maybe watched one or two of them and not that, you know, they seemed okay. But the Charlton Heston ones, I watched all of those, and they're great. They're condemnation because, you know, it's Charlton Heston, so he does all sorts of condemnation. Is there condemnation in the newer ones?
Oh yeah. Like just a ton. And what I like about it is, again, you're rooting for the monkeys, you know?
Yeah, they make you root for the monkeys.
And that's kind of like, that's what you have to. In this movie, I'm not rooting for the humans at all, but I'm also not rooting for the blues. So it's tough.
Yeah, in this movie, because there are no characters, nobody really has a personality. You know, it's more just like it's more just a plot, you know, which is very thin, and that's the problem with looking at a movie like this. So we'll just cruise right through a lot of this. So there's a teaching headset which teaches the kids, and so Ter's able to learn also because his collar is broken and it short circuits into his brain.
Which means that teaching is also not a profession on this planet. From what I can tell, Dan, there are no professions. Nobody has a job.
Well, because the movie is trying to set up this whole sort of thing where this is a culture that has transcended and just spends all of its time meditating the big stuff, you know, thinking about the big things.
All they seem to be thinking about is the little things, and by that I mean the ohms. At their big meeting, 90% of what they talk about are the ohms.
Well, that's just because that's the point of the plot. That, I mean, if you really want to go into, like, you know, wheat production, you know, I'm sure they could have made a 2-hour movie about the wheat production meeting, but that's not the meeting.
Which I'm sure people would complain about, because that's a big complaint about the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. But that's what I enjoyed from the prequel trilogy, is learning how the universe works, because it doesn't make any sense in the regular trilogy.
That's not true. You do not enjoy the Senate meetings. No one enjoys the
I
Senate meetings.
strong disagree. I do, Dan, because I mean, I don't think it's done super well. Let's not be crazy. But I'm interested in that angle because I want to know how the universe works, even on like a little, just the tiniest notion of how things operate here. And I don't get that in this movie.
So we get this really cool scene where these crystals are growing on everything, and they start growing on Tear, and then the only way to get the crystals off is to whistle.
Cool. You're using cool sarcastically, no?
I thought it was interesting. You're like,
what is
wow,
interesting about it?
The crystals are growing fast, and Tear could have just died.
Could he have? I don't know, because I'm not giving any information about the crystals and what they do, how they're formed, what they're even. I don't know anything about them. All I know is that whistling shatters them. What a fun thing to learn.
What would have been kind of interesting is if at the end the big statues were made out of crystals and then they whistled them to death. But
that would have been interesting. Yeah, a little callback to the movie.
So then we see that the other kids have arms also, and the arms are fighting. The girl arms' hair is tied together, and then they fight with their hair tied together. Never seen.
Oh yeah, the chick fight. That was a cool moment too. I was into it. I was curious because they don't seem to fight to the death at all.
No.
I don't know. I don't see a lot of fun in this game.
And then then Tear's supposed to fight this one guy, and he's sort of fighting him. And then the guy stops and starts doing terrible singing, and then tries to Tear tries to strangle him to death.
Which I was like, oh yeah, that's what I would do too, because I'm annoyed with this guy who's just scream singing for no reason. Choke him, please. Get him out of the ring.
So then we have this scene where they're sucking up clouds. Did you like the sucking up cloud scene?
Yeah, I don't think I liked any of these scenes. I don't. Again, I don't. No, I don't even understand what they were doing.
So, the one drag has her first meditation. Tear then runs away, stealing the learning tool. And then they're like, "Oh, you gotta do maximum bracelet to bring him back," but she's worried that maximum bracelet's gonna drag him through a bunch of fields that's gonna break him. And then
I probably would.
Oh yeah, totally would. And then this girl runs up and with like the tiniest knife, like cuts the collar off.
Just cuts the collar off, which is because this advanced civilization can't figure out how to properly collar one of their slaves.
Yeah. So then they walk a long ways, and that's when we have the elephant creature in the cage that's grabbing the other little creatures and throwing them on the ground.
Which is one of my favorite moments of the film. I just want something, some sort of substance. Substance. That's what I feel like is missing from this movie, is substance. That's like my general complaint.
Too much
substance.
Too much allegory and too much stoned images.
I'm also not sure that I believe there's that much allegory. I feel like I know they're playing at it, but like
a little bit of allegory. So
we already skated past the part where all of your drags have to go somewhere for your first meditation.
Yeah,
and they're talking about
meditation.
They're moving. They're on the road to knowledge, and they're on a physical road, all moving towards this building that I assume was just knowledge. I almost quit at that moment when they said, "Oh, they're on the road to knowledge," and then they're just on a road. Fuck you.
Oh, so good. So they go through this crack in the wall, and there's this big tree, and they all live in the tree. And then this box eats a dude.
Uh-huh.
And then this is how Tear sort of ingratiates himself, is because he can read what it says on the boxes. And he's like, look out for that box. That's the box that eats people. And they're like, oh, you don't know anything. And then the box eats the dude. It was pretty cool.
Now, is that cool? Because I don't know anything about, what are these boxes? Obviously, they're from the drags of some sort, because it's got drag language on it. But what do they do? And then he opens another one that's like red dust, and the dust flies around and chases a guy. What the hell is happening, Dan?
Some dangerous dust. Well, that's all sort of the
It's
makeups.
dust.
You know, it's makeup. So you open the box of red makeup, and then it flies around, and then it goes on your face.
Is
Don't you
that,
remember?
Dan, is that how you think makeup works? You
Well,
think you just open a case and it magically flies onto your face?
they had the earlier scene with the makeup, so yeah, and there
But
was the
she
black makeup
dips her
test.
hand in it and then dabs her face with it.
It's
It
probably,
doesn't magically come out of the container. They, in fact, set up the fact that it doesn't come out. You're right. This is their fault because there's a whole scene where she has a makeup container open and she has to rub her hand in it. And she even puts her hand in the wrong one and then rubs her face. Nothing comes out automatically.
this is probably more expensive
Oh,
makeup.
this is the high class makeup.
So then we have the night of the buried head, where everybody goes up on this head, and they eat these berries, and then they glow, and then they all run away into the forest to have sex.
Yeah, 2x2, baby. Oh, that's great. That's a great scene. First of all, is that a drag skeleton, we think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool moment. Like I was like, oh, I like that, and that's where they're performing the ritual. Like I thought that was all interesting, but it doesn't lead to anything.
No.
Nothing leads to anything.
Well, it leads to being there a lot more on babies. That's what it leads to.
Well, sure, because they reproduce like crazy, apparently.
And they had really sexy saxophone music during that. What do you think of the music of this movie?
I thought it was weird. I thought it was. I mean, it's not bad. It's probably the best part of the movie, right? Because it's not. It doesn't annoy me, and that says a lot for this movie.
I wrote down that the first song that they had was "Sex, Whistles, and Insect Noises."
So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I think that encapsulates it pretty well. What I imagine is that again, somebody was just like hitting the pipe pretty hard and then just kind of making noises as they watched the animation happen. And they're like, I think that this one would probably sound like this. Yeah. And which is fine. It's fine.
So then we have the lizard combat scene where they tie lizards to two people and then they fight.
What a weird little scene this was. But I liked this for twice reasons, right? The first reason is that I enjoy the fact that the drags make humans fight. And then also the humans make humans fight, because honestly, that's kind of our base thing, like humans, not that bright. We're very, but second of all, I liked it because they tied these creatures onto their stomachs right here, so close. From what I can tell, you don't have control over the creatures. They're just kind of biting. I'm upset with the movie because at least one time one of those should have just bit the wrong guy and killed its owner, because now that's a funny moment to me.
Or bit like one of the spectators. That would have been funny.
Or a spectator. Yeah, like for some reason these animals are like, I'm only gonna attack this guy, and I don't like that.
And that's the thing about a good movie like this, is it makes you think about other scenarios that you could use in your movie.
No, Dan, that's what's good about a bad movie, is that you think of ways to change it to make it better.
Potato. So they're going on an expedition, and so he needs new clothes because he's still wearing like the crazy clown clothes, which I felt embarrassed for him until he got rid of those clothes. Those clothes were so bad.
Yeah, you look like a doofus.
And then we have like the weird clothes making bugs come over and extrude clothes on them.
Here's where I think the whole movie went off course, Dan.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the things that humans do are about just like base human nature without much thought to it, just like their base needs. And he's embarrassed by his dingleberry, his southern hemisphere. He covers it up when he's naked, but there are 4 very attractive ladies like snickering in the corner. And it's like, I don't know if I buy that. I think this guy, would be proud. I think he just, let it hang free and just, maybe hands on hips and be like, take it all in. I'm human. That's how I feel about it.
There it is. Tony speaks. So they go and they steal a bunch of stuff. They go through Intestine Land. Did you enjoy Intestine Land when it rained?
I thought that you're saying that that's what you named it, right? Because I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting like comment on the human body. And then it wasn't. It was just a drawing.
The thing I love is that you spent all your time really looking for the hidden meanings in this movie.
Because
not
I felt like
realizing
there had to be something.
This is what happens when a lost watcher comes and watches another movie. Is they look for all this. What does the polar bear mean? And the truth of the matter is, polar bear doesn't mean anything. It's just a thing they made up.
Correct. And listen, Dan, you're wrong because I'm the opposite kind of lost watcher. I disagree with all the people that are like, oh, things weren't tied up at the end. Wham, wham. Fuck you. Yes, they were. Everything that needed to be answered got answered. It doesn't matter. We're off topic. My thing about this movie is that the surface level is so shallow that I was like, there has to be something deeper that I'm missing. And so I spent the whole movie just like looking for it, and I saw nothing. And it made me very angry.
So they steal a bunch of boxes of food, and then they come back and they walk by the Hollow Bush Bandits plant, and the Hollow Bush Bandits just steal all their stuff.
Yeah, which is great.
Actually, it was
cool
terrible.
Moment.
Why would
like,
you walk by their stupid bush if you know they're in there waiting to steal your stuff? Why
Dan,
don't you just
because
walk around
these humans are so dumb. That's what I'm saying to you. These are the dumbest humans ever.
So he gets a makeout session with the girl.
Yeah, attaboy. Good for
then
you.
Then the weird bird attacks, and it's got the sticky tongue. And then they kill the bird. Dan. And then we have the fountain of blood. Did you like that fountain of blood where you got to drink it and then bathe in it?
Where they just like drilled a hole and just started shooting out for, I don't know, 5 minutes. That was more blood than that bird has in its entire body, for sure. Like it was a lot.
Birds don't have
and
a
I
lot
don't
of,
even
don't
totally understand. No, of course not. Why? So what was, explain to me what the significance of this was, Dan, because some people drank it, yum, 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 and then they just pushed our hero into it, and he just stood there under the fountain. Yeah. Was that a baptism?
I just lost a bunch of sound, so I don't know what you just said.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now?
It's okay. The record, kind of. The recording is recording all of this, so whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever your question is.
What I'm questioning. Oh, okay. We'll just skate over my important question then, Dan.
Was it important?
Unbelievable.
Let's just move on.
I'm just curious if that would. No, it's not important.
So we got on the wall. They've written that they're gonna be fumigating the park, and so he can read that, and he says we're gonna be fumigating the park. He goes to talk to the bush people and to warn them, and nobody really does anything, even though they know they're coming to fumigate the whole park.
Well, that's what's weird about it, Dan, is because he tells his people and they're like, oh no. And then he goes and tells the bad people and they're like, well, we don't believe you. But both camps did nothing. So the people that believed him did nothing, and the people that didn't believe him did nothing. Nobody did anything.
So
just
actually,
kill them all.
They were busy doing glow sex too, which was part of the
That's
problem.
True.
They were doing glow sex. So now
sex is always a problem.
We get the fumigation of the park, and we get Tony's favorite thing, the poison dish shooting machine, which makes this noise. What's the noise? Can you make that noise, Tony?
I don't think I can. Is it? you do it. Yeah, there you go.
And they do it literally about 1 million times, and you're like, we get it. We got it.
It is minutes on end. Like that could be done in 4 seconds. So you get the idea that it shoots, but they just keep showing it over and over. It's so dumb.
Oh, it's so good. So then everybody sort of runs around, and some of them get away from the gas, and they run outside of the park, and then two drags come walking up. What?
Some of them ran into holes that didn't have any way out. They're just so dumb, Dan. They're so dumb, and just kill them all.
So these two drags come walking down the street, and they're all like, "Oh my God, look at all these alms!" And they're like, "We better start stomping them." And then the alms get pissed off, and they fully Gulliver's Travels one of the drags.
Yeah, and while the other one just runs away, like what a terrible friend. Together, I think you could take them all. But instead, he just watches his friend get taken down and then like stabbed and just slowly creeps away.
Yeah, but drags they're a cowardly race.
Yes, I agree 100%. Because then in the meeting, they're like, and this one narrowly escaped. Narrowly escaped. He ran away. He wasn't even in any danger. Stupid.
So they all take the big exodus. They walk past the snapping plants. They walk past the whip plants. They get on the road. They go on the road to the rocket dump. And then they spend 15 years making rockets and making a miniature ray. And while they're making rockets, the drags are going to plan making new machines to destroy the arms.
Yeah.
And so then basically the machines come to destroy all the arms. Well, they send the first machine, which sprays white circles everywhere.
Yeah, which I didn't understand what that was. I still don't. I have no idea.
I think that was just like, these are the places we need to poison. I think that's what it was.
Oh, they're just marking. So X marks the spot, really, if you think about it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then we have the new arm killing machines, which there's like a death ray and then the squish ball. You probably loved the squish ball.
Dan, no.
What?
No.
Didn't love the squish ball?
I didn't love anything at this point. I'm so mad by this point at this movie that I think I shut down. I don't think I've ever shut down before, but I feel like I wish my wife would have taken a picture. I feel like I watched the end of this movie just like this.
I can't see you.
With no emotion.
Been out for the show.
You can't see me. Well, just imagine a very grumpy looking kitten, and that would be me.
So basically, they launch in the two rocket ships to go to like basically what we always thought was the moon of the planet, and they get to the moon, and there's all these headless statue pairs, male and female. Now, did you immediately think that the meditation globes were going to come and land on the top of these statues?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't expect that.
Oh, really?
I was just like, what the hell is going on here? Another weird race.
Well, because sure, yeah, that could be it, or like a graveyard of some sort. No, the whole time I was just like, oh, okay, so instead of just doing it on planet, it's like, here's what it is. Remember Demolition Man, Dan?
Do I ever remember Demolition Man? The three
right,
seashells.
That's a great movie. Wish we should do that. But
no,
they no longer have physical sex in that movie, and they do it virtually. And that's what this race is doing. They're taking out the carnal pleasure of it and just doing it as a mind exercise, which is dumb. Come on, guys, wipe that out. But so yeah, the whole time the orbs were going up. They were going up, and I was like, oh well, I guess this is where they go. I didn't expect them to have sex. I didn't know that that's what they were doing until this happened. This was the mating ritual. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I hate this movie. This is garbage.
So somehow the rocket ships have lasers, and they start lasering statues, which like kills the arms that are in the midst of their mating.
Did it kill them? I honestly couldn't tell if it was killing them or just like scaring them. Or they were just like snapping back to their bodies like, oh, no. I don't know. I can't tell.
Either scaring them or killing them. And then basically we have like about a minute of exposition where we find out that this leads to peace and Well, I mean, if you were, it's like if there was a creature that had lasers and they were shooting everybody's penises off, you'd come to a, you'd sue for peace. You wouldn't want everybody to have their.
Would you?
I mean,
I don't think
you'd be
maybe
cool
you're
with that
not.
if they sterilized.
No, you're not cool with it. You build something to defend against that. That's their one weapon. Their tiny little things shooting your dick off, right? So you just build like a laser protective nut cup, and you head back into battle and step on them.
Well,
Because no one's gonna mess with me like that. No, sir. I'm not gonna kowtow to you.
I think with their two little ships, they could have pretty much destroyed all those statues in a day, like long before they
Sure.
would have
Okay.
enough
So
time
the
to
statues are dead. Find somewhere else to meditate to and fuck. Come on, guys. Think outside the meditation ball.
And so then we find out that they make another fake satellite, which they're going to call Terror, and all the arms are going to go live on that satellite. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. So what did we learn, Dan? What's the general knowledge that I should take from this thing?
What did we learn is this movie is best watched when you're completely stoned. And I mean, the truth is, it's not, as a movie, as a story, it's not good. It's just not good.
Okay, agreed.
But it's an allegory. It gets you to think about, should you be stepping on those ants? Tony's feeling is step on all the ants, destroy all the ants. But the truth is, those ants don't just bother you; they also do important things. You can't kill all the honeybees because then we don't have plants anymore. And see how that works.
I agree. Listen, Dan. I know that I came out hot with the ant issue, but let me clarify some things. My thing is, if the ant comes into my home, he's dead. All right, but I'm not gonna search out the ant and kill it. I'm not like a magnifying glass kid, out there killing ants for the fun of it. I don't believe in that. But my space is my space. Don't come into it.
Something to think about.
Is it? What does this movie make you think about? What has it expanded in your brain?
What I liked about this movie is all the interesting alien races and all of the weird sort of things that happened, and like that. That's what I found interesting. I found the visuals very interesting. I thought it was an interesting approach to science fiction, like from a visual standpoint.
But you don't learn anything about those creatures.
No,
I agree. I agree. I am interested in this world, but this movie doesn't deliver that to me.
Well, I mean, it delivers.
What upsets me.
It delivers what it could from a 1973 independent feature film. You just.
I don't know, Dan. I saw Zordoz. All right,
Zardoz.
That delivers pretty good.
There's a lot of stuff in Zardoz. That's true. Yeah.
Since those are the only two movies that I think I've seen from the 1970s, I'm picking Zardoz.
So, but the truth of the matter is, this month is about tormenting people, and I think I successfully fulfilled my obligation of truly tormenting you. Did your wife?
I think
enjoy
you
the
did
movie?
as well. To the point, Dan, that I don't know. I don't even know. To this moment, I don't know what we're doing next week. I won't know until I just say it. I spent, I think, probably 45 minutes last night just combing through movies that I was like, I gotta get this guy. I'm so mad. I couldn't find a single movie that I thought would upset you more than it upsets me. I couldn't find one.
You wait till what I have for you in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, this month is over.
No, we each get. This is my first one to you. I get one more.
This is your first one?
Yeah.
It feels like this is your fifth one.
No, that's my first one. I get another one, number 2, and I have a really good one, and it's 2 hours and 12 minutes long.
Oh my God, Dan! The one saving grace of this movie is that I finished it during dinner.
It's a fairly short movie. It's an hour and 12 minutes. You can pretty much get through. But this other movie I'm thinking about, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it is from the 70s.
Why? I think you've got something for the 70s, Dan. Is this a
I
nostalgia thing?
love the 70s. My wife always
right.
refers to 70s movies as dirty 70s movies because of how dirty they are, like, you know, Bluebies and whatnot, but also like just
a lot of Bluebies.
They're just like, I don't know, the film stocks, just like it's gritty and you get in there and they feel real and so I love 70s movies. But this is a movie. Well, I'm not going to talk about my movie. I haven't decided if I'm going to make you watch this one because I'm going to see if you can successfully torment me, then you're going to have to watch this one. If you can't, which I think you will fail because I don't think you can.
I will fail. I don't, honestly, I think this is a fool's errand, and I think you knew that when you pitched this month, and I call bullshit on it. That's what I think happened. I think you were like, oh, you know what would be funny is if I make him watch shitty movies, and then he makes himself watch shitty movies, and I don't give a fuck about anything. That's what I think happened in your twisted little mind, Dan.
I do think that's exactly what my plan was. I think you are correct. You've correctly figured out what my plan was, and it's working perfectly. Well, the truth of the matter is, I just made up this month because I just wanted you to watch this one movie.
This movie or the next one?
Oh, yeah.
This is the one movie?
Oh, yeah. This is the only reason that we're doing this month is because I wanted you to have to watch this movie. Because I think, as I said last week, is I went and saw this movie as a child with my brother, and I like walked out of there and I was just like, what have you done to me? You know? And so, I mean, not that my brother was trying to torment me, but...
Dan, what happened between child, innocent, lovely Dan and now that somehow you think this movie's not the worst thing you've ever seen?
Oh, because I mean, you know, the movies we've watched, what really makes a bad movie is writing that causes me pain. That's what I think I hate the most. So like...
Oh, I see. And since this movie didn't write a goddamn thing, you give it a pass.
Well, because there was enough other things that I found kind of moderately amusing, and it was incredibly short. Sure. You know, an hour and 12 minutes. You know, if this had been 2 hours long, I would have, you know, I would have been feeling some pain. Absolutely. But that's what I found super interesting about this movie is when you really analyze the story, it's like super pedestrian. It's just like, it's not a lot there. It's really thin. But the visuals, I think, were strong enough to make it. I found it very interesting. What was I going to say? But yeah, you get a movie like the New Year's Eve movie, you know, where you have that plot line with Seth Meyers and what's her name, and it's just like written so badly.
I mean, you're not wrong about that.
So that stuff just brings me down.
That's interesting because I mean, while bad writing, it's very frustrating. At least that's something I feel like I can make fun of because I see the problem and I know I can just recognize it and I know it. With something like this,
you're bored.
I'm just flummoxed. I'm totally flummoxed. I don't understand who thought this was a good idea and who worked on it and was like, I'm proud of this. This is good stuff.
Well, you hate it because it's boring. You hate it because there's no snappy boring dialogue. There's nothing fun. There's no acting. There's like nothing there for you to enjoy.
I would like this better as like a picture book. Like a 50-page picture book that tells the same story, just written. The dialogue's just written because, let's be honest, there's not much to do anyhow. No. But the visuals are great.
So, Tony, tell us something you enjoyed this week.
Oh, right. What a treat. WandaVision, the first 2 episodes dropped this week, and I checked that out, and I am pleasantly surprised. I think it's very... Did you watch it?
That was my pick also.
Oh, shit, really?
Of course.
Dan,
how can it not
Look at us. Look at us being best friends again after this terrible week.
Oh, I only watched the first episode because I wanted to stretch it out a little more. So don't tell me anything about the second one.
Probably smart.
But the first one is just such a perfect... It's just a sitcom. It really is, with just like these undertones of what's going to come.
You just get like these little moments of like, oh, that wasn't quite right. I like that. I like it.
The thing I found the most interesting was that Elizabeth Olsen, I thought, was both a better comedic actress and a better actor than Paul Bettany.
And Paul Bettany is one of my favorites, but she really knocked this out of the park. I thought,
Amazing.
like if I'd have known better, she could have been a star back in the day, and like she would have been huge.
Yeah,
people would have loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, she just really. I mean, he's great too, but I mean, she's just this. She's just next level, and I thought that was really pleasant. I'm super enthused about all the Marvel stuff. The Loki one looks super interesting also, and they continue to just make product that's really, really a step above.
And I think the most interesting part to me, Dan, is that I was reading the reviews for it, because that's what I like to do. I just like to see what normal people, not the critic reviews, I don't generally care about that, but I want to see what, the plebes of the world think. And a lot of people are very upset with it. Because that's like, people are just like, this isn't Marvel, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's the people, just like the ohms in this movie, are dumb.
Yeah, I think someone I know tweeted something, and it was like, I got the feeling that the tweet was like that he did not enjoy it. And it's like, I mean, they're doing something different. And you're not going to necessarily, as opposed to something like The Mandalorian, where they did something exactly what the fans wanted. And, I checked out after half of the first season, just because.
And what I like about it is that that's the same company. It's all like I like it because they're doing things that aren't just one thing. Like I don't think that I felt superhero fatigue, like a lot of people talk about that. I don't think I get that. I don't think I feel that. But at the same time, it not being just a traditional action adventure, I was like, I love this. I love these characters in a different setting, and I just think it's very interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I think we're going to get there where it becomes a thing.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's like, this is setup. They're going to be doing, I mean, what is it, 9 episodes? So it's 4.5 hours. So it's 2 movies. So if you're expecting in the first, or 22 minutes times 9, so that's whatever. It's 2.5 hours.
Whatever.
Yeah, 22 times 9. No, that's 3 hours. 3 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 hours and whatever. Stop laughing, Tony.
I'm not laughing because you can't get it. Just for the record, I'm just laughing that you keep trying. Like, your brain is unable to move on from that thought until you finish the math.
Okay, 22. 9,
carry the 3
plus 18, 198 minutes, which is 3 hours and 18 minutes.
Beautiful.
I think so. I hope it is. Could be wrong. Yeah. So I understand that people might not be happy, but go screw yourselves. So Tony, now's your time to get Dan back.
I mean, that's it's not possible. That's not possible. I can't
stick in the knife.
I'll be honest that Shannon did send me an idea. Yeah. But I did look into it, and it just felt again like something that would hurt me far more than it would hurt you.
I told her to tell you the movie that you should pick.
What was it? Because maybe that was the movie.
Hook.
Oh, wait, you don't like Hook?
No, it's garbage.
Okay, never mind. We'll do that movie because I love Hook. Dan, we need to have this fight.
Yeah.
How can you not like Hook?
Oh, so terrible.
I mean, I think a lot of people don't like Hook, but all those people are wrong.
Let me rephrase this. When I initially saw Hook in the movie theaters, I walked out of that theater going like, "What the hell was that?" I had the feeling I'll have this. I have the feeling I'll have the exact same opinion. I mean, you could have picked Goonies too, but I think I probably hate Hook more than I hate Goonies.
But I also don't like Goonies, so again, that's punishment for me. But Hook, I genuinely enjoy. I quote Hook all the time.
Yeah, not to me, you don't, because I punch
No,
you in the
not to you,
face.
just to my wife, because she also is not a big fan. So I
Really?
like to quote
Wow.
it.
Smart people are not big fans. Oh, Tony's a big fan.
I
Yeah.
surround myself with smart people so that I can debate them.
Wait, what? So what movies were you going to pick?
I was up until you said that I was gonna make us watch Interstellar.
I think Hook's better because I think Interstellar's just dumb.
Yeah. The third act really falls apart to me on that
Hook.
in that movie.
Hook, I'm gonna have a lot of things probably to say about it.
I can't believe that. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to come in full defense mode next week.
Yeah. So get your Hook talking points ready.
I think I already got most of them ready. I've spent a lot of my life defending this movie.
How many times have you watched this stupid movie?
Oh, hundreds. That's probably a lie, but dozens and dozens of times. I had it memorized at one point. It's so good. Looky, I got hooky. Run home, Peter. Shmee, that's me. Death is the only adventure I have left, Shmee. I mean, come on.
Dustin Hoffman's not Hook, is he?
What are you talking about?
Oh God. This is going to be so painful. I just remember how terrible Robin Williams was. Oh,
terrible. Oh my God, he's phenomenal. You just don't like him because he's not, bouncing off the walls, Robin Williams. Oh, Dan.
See, I think the point's going to be I'm going to pick movies that torment you. I'm going to end up doing movies that people are going to hate me for hating on.
I hope so. That's better. To me, that's a better outcome than you suffering through the movie. I want public opinion to not like Dan. That's not true.
Kind of a jerk.
I like Dan.
No,
well, not so much right now, but as a general picture, in a whole, I enjoy Dan Goodsell.
Fantastic Planet. I'm so happy.
Is it called Savage Planet?
Yeah. And
yeah, that makes more sense than Fantastic Planet. Yeah.
The idea is the moon is the savage planet, but they named
I disagree.
They named it Fantastic Planet because they wanted to imply that this is fantastically weird planet. I think that's my feeling.
Yeah.
And this won like a special prize at Cannes.
I know. Oh, Dan, I forgot to tell you real quickly. My favorite part of this movie is not the movie. It's the trailer for the movie, the American trailer for it, because it's this monotone woman just like reading the reviews of the movie in between clips. And what she's like, one of them is a fine adventure story. And then it does clips. She's like, I recommend it. clips. And she's just so unenthused. I feel like she also watched the movie and then had to do the job anyway. She was like, I hate this movie. Do not watch it. It's fine.
Well, you've been Hate Watching with Dan and Tony, talking about The Fantastic Planet. If you like what you see here, tune in next time or leave a comment or leave a thumbs up. We appreciate the thumbs up because we get people giving us thumbs down nowadays, and those ones are like daggers in our souls.
And only a couple of them are me, so I'm kidding.
So we'll be back next week. Never. We hope to see you then.
Hook!